Alright, so we have our page CSS and HTML complete. Now we just need to add the animation. Alright, and we're going to be using another CSS pseudo selector called target. And what that does is it represents if you have a link to an ID on your page, like we have here, okay, slide 1. If we click this, then the target is going to be the element with that ID, which would be this here. Alright, so when we click on the thumb, we want the target to animate. Alright, if that makes sense. Alright, so in our CSS, let's see, let me just add a comment here. Animation for slider. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is create the keyframe. Alright, so we're going to use WebKit keyframes, and then the name of it is going to be slide. And this animation is actually going to be very, very simple. It's only 2 lines of code, really. So at 0%, we want this to start at to the left, negative 500 pixels. All right. Basically, we want it to start. Let me just go back here. We want this to start way back here. All right. So negative 500 pixels. And then when we click thumbnail, we want the div to slide to come into place basically at 0. Okay, so it's going to go from negative 500 to 0, and that's going to slide it into place. So for 100%, we want left 0. Okay. So that's basically it for that, for the keyframe. Alright, now we need to get the target. Okay, so we're going to say ul.slides li, and then we're going to use target. Alright, and then for this we're going to say z-index is going to be 100, and then we want to do our animation, so we're going to say WebKit animation name, which is slide. Alright, and we can define the duration, so say WebKit animation duration. We'll set this to 1 second, and then WebKit animation, we want to set the iteration count. Okay, so how many times it's going to animate, which is going to be 1. Okay, so let's see, we want, iteration count, I believe. Yeah, iteration count 1. So let's save this. Okay, so you can see that now if we click on a slide, it comes into view. Okay, so that's essentially all it's doing, is moving from negative 500 to 0. Alright, this is actually very simple. The animation is actually simpler than that introduction video we did with the square. Alright, but looks good. There's one last thing we need to fix. You can see if I click on this slide, look behind it. Okay, it just basically is a blank background. We want the last slide to show there. Okay, so we're going to use another CSS pseudo selector. You say that 5 times fast. Pseudo selector that is it's not. Okay, it's called not. Basically, what it does is select everything that is not, and then whatever parameter you put in there. Okay, so if you say like not, and then let's say P, okay, so paragraph, anything that's not a paragraph, then that style will apply to them. Okay, so let's see. So not target. That's what we want to do, is say everything that's not the target div or a target element. We're actually going to create another WebKit. Another keyframe, or a WebKit keyframe. And what we're going to do is at 0%, we're going to set the Z index to 75. Okay, which is less than the Z index of the target, which is 100. So this will go behind it. Okay, at 100%, same thing. We're just going to have Z index 75. All right, and then let's see. We want to create ul.slides li, and then we're going to use not. And then what we want it to select is everything that's not the target. Alright, so I'm going to copy this, and this is going to be called no target, and the rest looks fine. So let's save this and give that a shot. Okay, so now it's just kind of dropping in. There's no slide effect. Okay, I have it set as slide right here. It should be no target. All right. Okay, it's still not showing the image before it underneath. So something isn't right. And I don't think there's anything wrong with our animation code. I think it's up here. Okay, slides. This sets the width and the height. Okay, we didn't set the list items position. Yeah, so we need to grab the ul.slide li and set the position to absolute, and then give it a lower Z index. So Z index 50. Okay, hopefully that works. Alright, so that is working. Very good. So you can see that the Z index pushed it under the previous slide. Okay, so now we can see the previous slide under the active slide. Alright, so that's it. This is something you could use in your website, and obviously you need to create your own images. Okay, you need to create a thumbnail and a large image for each image set. So that's it for this project. Thanks.